way. There's no angels where I go, only pieces that are broken, scattered dreams across the floor. I'm home.
Alrighty, hello everybody, this is Kira's show here. Now, let us begin. Whenever we last left off, Deku and everyone else, they had all just gone through a lesson with the librarian, as you can call it. The librarian has shown them and actually taught them some things about themselves, along with actually somewhat traumatizing a couple people, since they were not prepared to see what they saw. The combat stimulants, it actually did help though, so some people were actually able to process this a bit better than others. The ones that took the stimulant did. Now, the Space Marine has just stated that this is going to be a bigger challenge. They are not going to be going easy on them anymore. Now, over the next year, the Marines, they would have been tougher and actually harder on the children, as they would be making them lift heavier objects, heavier weights, and hunt for longer periods of time, along with actually teaching them and showing them certain things that are useful, more tactical, and actually very, very useful to know, along with them doing combat training routinely, and sometimes they would not even sleep, which would put a damper on some of them, along with the fact that they increase their intake of poison so that they can try and build immunities more and more often. Along with, after a 6-month period, the Space Marines, they would have started giving the males in their group some of the injections that they will need before they are initiates, or at least certain chemicals that they need to help improve and advance their anatomy. Basically, chemicals they would need whenever they are an initiate, so that things will be a lot easier on them. Not a super soldier serum, but at least something to help improve and actually help them adapt more and more to combat. Basically, it's the same thing the Sisters of Battle were giving the females. And I'm not sure if it's true or not, but from any picture I've seen of them, the hair is usually white and or looks blonde. So I want to say that the chemical, the way it reacts to the human body, it does that to your hair. And I want to say it actually does help improve parts of your body. So if that is true, or if it is not true, if there's any evidence on that, can someone please leave it in the comments? That is why Momo and Kirishima's hair have been turning white. Now then, over the course of the year, they would have done intense training, which would have left a lot of people in the dust. And then they have a big challenge. They are going to be going on another hunt. Not on this planet, however. The nuns have actually all gotten done with it. They are actually teaching the children now. And they have been listening. They've been teaching everything they know about the Codex. And they would just learn non-stop. The time they don't spend learning, they spend training. The time they don't spend training, they spend learning. Trying to find some sleep in the middle of those two. Now, they also do actually wear the pain gloves, the suits that they have underneath. Today is different, however. They are told that whichever group brings in the most food, they are going to be eating. And the group that does not, they will spend 2 to 3 days hungry. So this will give them proper motivation to hunt better, and to go out of your way to catch bigger prey. The bigger the prey, the more likely you'll be to eat. Now, along with that, the weakest or the smallest person to bring back the smallest meal will not eat at all either, even though you are in the winning group. you must still pull your weight. Now, the Marine would go on saying that joint hunts are authorized, but you will split the kill, meaning that they will only get credit for half the animal, which people, they do understand. This training, it's not easy, and they would begin. Everyone immediately splitting up, pairing off straight off the bat, and leaving. As a lot of the kids, they don't even care to use their quirks anymore. Some of them, they just forget about them. Others, they're used to just not using them. But that's just it. Deku and Kirishima, they would have immediately paired up, along with Momo coming with them. They would have been trying to think of a plan. She knows quite a bit about certain subjects, so they can actually use her elements and whatever she can create as traps and weapons. So this will be a lot better. As they are all running, I want to say with the fact that these chemicals augmenting their systems, they would be at about 30 to 25 miles. They're able to run at this pace for about an hour or 3, as they would have eventually come across a very large animal. And get ready. Deku, he would draw his sword. And he is ecstatic. This will be a great hunt, as he actually does start climbing up a tree. And get ready. He gets ready with his sword, as he would just hold his hand out to signal for Momo, and the other one to signal out for Kirishima. The two getting ready to pounce. As soon as they do, however, this is whenever a very large, well, dinosaur as you can call it, would be running through. This thing is covered in mountains of fur, and it has just obliterated what they were trying to kill. So, this will be a big challenge. Basically dwarfing whatever they could bring back. As Deku would have done one simple thing. He would have brought his hands up and begun doing a yell, which would signal everyone in his group that he has found something, and that he will need help. However, this yell will also attract another group, since if Deku thought it was needed to yell that loud, this thing has got to be huge. Now, Deku, him and Kirishima, along with Momo, and 5 other people will be tracking this creature, as the Space Marines are watching from the ship, seeing exactly how well they are doing. This is when Deku, he would get ready, as he would whistle. As soon as he does so, everyone would go in to attack. Deku jumping off of his tree, and immediately swinging his sword overhead, coming down, stabbing it into the side, as it would scream out in pain, as 8 other people would do this. As that happens, Deku, he almost gets thrown off, but he's able to hold onto his sword and actually cut through and lash on it more, as this thing's trying to shake off all these kids. Now, Deku, he would be ready. He would grab onto what he can and start digging into it with his hand, as he pulls out the sword and stabs into it more, trying to climb up this thing with as much force as possible. Everyone else attempting to do the same. This thing would have gone running and actually smashed itself into a wall, which would, I want to say, hurt, if not injure, very heavily or even kill some of the people that were holding onto it. Kirishima, she was able to harden herself up though, so she just stuck in the wall as she was just unhardened and jumped back onto the creature, actually stabbing into it and lashing into it with her bare hands. As they are fighting through each ounce of pain they are dealt. And Deku, he would have gotten up to this thing's head, as he would have been able to grab onto it and start choking it. As he would pull out a smaller knife and begin to stab into it, actually taking it down as it would fall. Now, as that happens, everyone who's left alive is panting heavily. And Deku, he would have ran over to the wall to check on his allies. to see that some of them, they are left alive, but they are not going to be alive for very long. As he would have waved his hand upwards into the air, calling down the Space Marine. He knows that they watch their exercises at this point. Everyone does. The Marine ship would have landed as the apothecary would walk out and rush over, immediately giving everyone medical aid that needs it. As one boy they try and give medical aid actually isn't responding. So he is classified, as you can say. Now, Space Marines, they would count this as a good kill, or even just as Deku's kill. The assist on it was very good. But, since they've lost an ally, this will go to him. Now, we will have a feast in the man's honor. He provided and was helpful in your hunt. So, we will feast to him. We will feast to the fallen. Now, everyone, get back to hunting, as the Marine would walk over. He would just basically signal a ship to come over, as they would pull the beast upwards, getting it onto the ship, successfully. Now, after that happens, Deku and everyone else, they would go back to hunting. The Marine walking over and telling Deku that he did very well. As Deku, he's just nodding. He is proud of what he just did. He is happy that he was able to at least impress his superiors. As Momo would open her mouth, saying that that was great. Now, we must continue. We're not sure exactly how long they've given us. They can give us till sunrise or sunset, correct? Usually. But other times, it's usually till the next week. Meat probably won't even be any good by then. You make a fair point, as Kirishima would say. It's better when you just jerky it, though. It tastes better. Besides, you can stay fresh for longer. Well, I mean, yeah, but you gotta remember, a lot of spices aren't like from Earth. Or, well, I wonder what Earth spice tastes like. Probably weird. Well, you gotta remember, we're the aliens here. Touche. As Momo would just snap them out of it, saying that they need to go, as they would continue hunting for the next week. They would have stopped to rest and actually gotten some. Their bodies are used to the pain these pain gloves give them, and they would have been able to quite simply just sleep through it and power through whenever they needed to. As they would spend the next week basically taking down whatever they can and getting food and animal pelts as they would come back. Whenever they do arrive, they would come back to the spot that the Space Marines told them all to meet, since they were basically pinged a signal. Now, the signal, it would be about 300 to 200 miles away from Deku, and these two, they need to meet back up with their group and see exactly what's been going on. As they would leave. Now, whenever they meet up with everyone, this is whenever people would be in shock to see that they have gotten a bit more kills. They have taken down more animals. And Deku's team has taken down less. However, this is where the Space Marine would just say that that is actually untrue. Do not let your eyes be your judge. As the Marine would just brought his hand up and brought it down to a fist, as there is a loud sound, and this giant beast would come smashing down to the ground, which would shock everyone. The Marine saying that this kill was provided by this team. However, in doing so, 4 of the participants were injured, one of them actually dying. However, that is the only death on their side, and from their hunt. So, your team has lost, to which Deku and everyone else would somewhat start to cheer, chanting for the Emperor, and that they will be the next Imperium. Now, after that happens, the Marine would just have them all prepare food and eat. People are actually talking about how they took it down, as they're basically using every part of the animal they can. They would make tents out of the pelts they have and use the teeth and bones as weapons. And this is where things will begin. The Space Marines would tell them after the next day that they are going to be doing a live fire exercise, or at least a controlled exercise. This will be how well you can take down an armed opponent. As the Marine, he would just roll out and quite simply show quite a bit of guns, which people are confused by. Momo actually somewhat recognizing the style of one. It's a flintlock style pistol, as she would have walked over and looked down at it. These are all flintlocks. Exactly what is this? Well, each one of these guns has a rubber bullet, and you are going to be in charge of one thing. This is still dangerous, but you are going to be playing a game. A game? Well, that is the best thing to describe it as. Each one of you will take a pistol and fight to see who will win. Whoever wins, as he would just hold up something, saying that they will get this, as it is basically a symbol carved into an amulet, saying that this is something that you will probably need and or like, a sign of your faith, part of your shield. Now, they would all begin, as the Marine would just stand there and yell, "Go!" Everyone's somewhat freezing for a second and not knowing what to do, as Mo would have grabbed a pistol and immediately turned running with it. She would have turned and actually started firing. She only gets one shot though, so what's she supposed to do when she's out? The Marine stating that she will need to use another one, which she would have immediately just been a bit excited, pulling and grabbing more flintlocks as she begins to fire off over and over and at everyone, hitting certain people, as they're all trying to dodge and maneuver out of the way. Deku would have gotten close enough to actually reach his hands out and get 2 of the pistols, actually grabbing 4. 2 in each finger. Well, 2 with 2 fingers he would grab 1, and with the other 2 he would grab another one on the same hand. Actually being able to get behind the Space Marine, as Momo would have turned her gun pointing straight at the Marine before she actually just put it up in the air and fired off by accident. Whenever that happened, Deku would have been able to jump off the Marine and actually come in, kicking her on the side, as he would have put the gun straight to her face. Her eyes would widen as Deku would just point the gun downward to her leg and fire it, saying that she is out, as he would grab another gun and run off into the forest. Momo being stuck there actually somewhat injured, as everyone would start running for the guns, now that they are essentially free. Now then, Deku, he decides to keep running, as he can hear everyone getting pistols and starting to fire. He decides that this will be the best time to, quite simply, put himself down into one spot and wait it out, which he kind of has a thought that tells him otherwise. If you wait it out, you are keeping yourself in one position. the enemy can still sneak up on you. Deku doing one thing. He would be running by and he would actually see a pit of mud. As he thinks about this, the forest is quite dark, and the trees seem to be around the same color. As he would have dove straight into the pit, sliding around and actually taking off his shirt. As he would just camp down in the mud and basically cover his face and most of his body in it. Actually being able to close his eyes and stay down. As people start running through. This is Deku. He would see that there's someone running by. He doesn't react, however, as he's still waiting for more people. As this person would have gotten shot in the back and fall to the ground. Someone walking up and revealing themselves. This is Kirishima. Deku would have done one thing. He would have whistled in her direction, as she would have turned, firing into his. Which she would miss. She thought that Deku was in the forest, or whoever that was. Deku basically coming out of the pit of mud directly in front of her, saying that she needs to be a bit more careful. Jesus! No, actually, it's Izuku. Oh, ha. Anyways, what are you doing in the mud? Well, considering you didn't see me, I can tell it works. Well, obviously. Well, I'll tell you one thing. That was my last shot. Do you have another one? If I give you one, are you going to shoot me with it? Probably not. You know what? As Deku, he would pull out a gun from behind his back, tossing it over to her and immediately just backing away, as he would have gotten behind a tree. These two would split up, as she would have turned, taking off, and begin taking down other people. Deku, him, Kirishima, John, and 3 other people are left. Deku, he gets ready. He has 2 shots, so at least 1 for each person. As he's waiting, he begins to actually move around and go through the forest. As he is running, he has one of the guns in his hand and one actually in his other one. As soon as he hears something, he'll turn, pointing the gun, not firing. As he'd be waiting around, walking through the forest. This is whenever he decides that he needs to get up high, as he would have put one of the guns in his mouth and begin climbing a tree. As soon as that happens, he's just standing on the branch as he's waiting. He then hears a gunshot, and he would immediately just jump off the branch and leap to another one. As Deku, he broke the branch. He's not sure if that was aimed at him or if that gave him away, but he would look down to see that Kirishima, she just shot John, taking him out. Deku saying that she's got smashed by the log that was covering him. As the Space Marine would have walked up, saying that she's essentially taken down. As Deku would have gotten off the tree and come down to her, she would harden her body as she would just get back up. The Space Marine asking exactly what happened. She would explain that that fell on her. Deku explained that that was kinda his fault. As the two would be told by the Marine that they are the last 2 contestants. So how about they have a draw? As they would just quite simply be nervous, nodding. Now, as soon as that happens, these 2 would be back to back, and Deku would be a bit cocky, saying that this is going to be a bit difficult, huh? Well, yeah. You know, I never really expected us to be at this point. Well, I mean, I kinda don't think anyone did. Yeah, well, you do make a good point. Anyways, exactly what are we going to be doing? Whenever I count to 10, you 2 will turn and fire. Do you understand? Yes, sir. Good. Now, 1, as he would count to 10, each one of these two taking a single step. Now, whenever he gets to 10, these two would have immediately turned. Deku immediately pulling the trigger as soon as he turns around, as Kirishima she would have turned and pulled hers, as she would have been hit by Deku's bullet first. Deku actually getting hit in his left arm and dislocating it, as Kirishima she would somewhat fall to the ground and be out of breath. Deku falling to the ground too and actually somewhat wincing in pain. That kind of just shocked his entire body, along with the fact that now the pain from the glove is actually burrowing a bit deeper, and it hurts like hell. The Marine somewhat getting Deku to his feet, handing him the amulet with one hand, as he would help Deku pop his arm back into place with the other one, saying that he is victorious. Here is your shield, child. Now, you two are promising. You may be some of the finest in the chapter. Now then, your training is not over. Repeat. Which everyone would just shout, yes, sir. And they would get into position. This time they have different battles, however. They are told that they are not hunting and they are not playing this time. They are going to be doing a race. They need to meet him halfway around the planet, and these, as he would just somewhat throw out something in his hands, saying that these are compasses. They will track the signal. If you can get there, then we will pick you up. But you are given 2 to about 3 weeks. I hope to see you all there. Now, this challenge may sound easy to some, but the beacon is at the top of the highest peak on this planet. I do hope to see some of you there. Now then, remember your training, as he would turn around, walking back onto the ship, saying that combat is allowed. Now then, with that being said, I'm going to leave this part off here, guys. I do hope you enjoyed the video and have an amazing day. I'll catch you guys in the next part.